We are slaying monsters.
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Here's what would happen in reality if I really thought that you were, let's just say I thought you were the Loch Ness Monster. I woke up one day, I was like, nah, it's the Loch Ness Monster. This whole time he's been the Loch Ness Monster.
Understandable mistake.
I would not kill you.
I appreciate that.
Yep. I would instead take your body and put it in some kind of like a little cart.
My living body, because you didn't kill me.
No, I didn't kill you. You're still alive, but I'd take you.
Am I conscious?
Sure, you can be conscious. You can be slightly drugged so it's easier.
Okay.
Because you're a Loch Ness Monster and, you're a monster. And so I would take you and I would, it would be a beneficial circumstance where I would just cart you around to circuses and fairs and I'd say, look, behold the Loch Ness Monster.
Look, I got a Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, $5, please. And I would become rich. And that would be my plan.
I mean, that was kind of Frank Hansen's idea, right?
It's all his fault. I mean, you can't blame me for this brilliant idea.
You just carted around the Bigfoot.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Frank Hansen. You're like, oh, I got a Loch Ness Monster. I just happened to get one.
Exactly. And
just
look,
appeared.
He's amphibious because he clearly does not need to be in the water.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I would do. I wouldn't kill you. I wouldn't see you as a threat. I would see you as a way to make me rich.
That, I think, is also the plot of Revenge of the Creature? The second Creature from the Black Lagoon movie? Wait. Creature Walks Among Us is the one where they made him into, like, a person? Mm-hmm. It might be... it's Revenge of the Creature, I think, where they capture him and they try to... I assume it's a him. I don't know if we actually know if the creature is male. They captured the creature, the gill man, and they bring the gill man to, like, a research facility and they're going to, like, do experiments on it, and they're going to like have it for it's King Kong. It's all of that shit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I found a cryptid. See, these are the schools of thought. There's the school of thought that's like, oh, I found a cryptid. Let's shoot it. Then there's the school of thought that's like, oh, I found a cryptid. Let's make money off of it and cart it around.
I'm more the latter.
Yeah. And then there's also a school of thought that's like, oh, we should probably leave them be and let them live a peaceful existence because they're just animals.
Okay, you make me feel bad now. Of course I would pick the last one. Of course. I would never do that to anything, but honestly though, I have to say if it's you though, I'm going to cart you around and make money off you.
Makes sense. In like a wheelbarrow.
Yeah. All the times that you've cornered me and yelled at me about aliens, I really think I deserve this. It's my retirement plan.
To take me to the circus.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to the circus with me.
I don't know. Do circuses... I feel like circuses don't do things like that anymore.
We went to that awesome fucking circus. What was that?
Oh, Paranormal Circ.
Paranormal Circ.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, most circuses are now just kind of acrobatics shows. They're not like, oh, look at the weird animals and the people with disabilities.
Oh, well, that's fucking terrible. Yeah, exactly.
Or like, wow, I found an elephant. Let's stab it with sticks, which is the other circus thing.
Jeez, really?
Yeah, of course. You would have elephants. You would have these like wild animals, and then you would have the lion tamer or the ringmaster or whatever who would like make them do tricks. And they'd stab the elephant with the bull hooks.
Oh, I thought you meant that like the audience could pay to stab the elephant for a few times.
That might have actually been possible.
I mean, I'm sure that if, anything Barnum and Bailey could make money off of, they would do it.
We talked about Barnum and the circus that Barnum had in the middle of New York City. I totally believe that if you gave Barnum like $15, he'd let you stab an elephant. 100%. Yeah. Dude was a total asshole.
Yeah, he would. And by the way, why are we talking about this? Well, we are slaying monsters, first of all. We got Matt across the table.
Loch Ness Monster sounds.
Is that the
Secretly
sound
Loch Ness Monster. That's the sound they make.
Yeah, it sounds like jingling keys. Very good. I'm EJ, and we got a Fortean Roundup for you folks. And
yes, we do.
We are talking about friends that could be monsters because this one guy apparently confused his friend as Bigfoot.
Yeah,
which is very, very sad. This is a sad story.
It was one of those articles that as soon as it came out, I was like, oh man, this is funny. And then the more I read about it, the more I was like, oh, this is actually a sad state of affairs. But yeah. Apparently, this actually happened way back in 2022. This man, Larry Doyle Sanders, he reportedly told investigators that he killed his friend because his friend had summoned a Bigfoot in Oklahoma, and he thought that the Bigfoot was going to kill him.
Oh, wait, so his friend wasn't Bigfoot. He thought the friend called Bigfoot over.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yeah, it was actually like, they were in the woods, I guess, and he thought that his friend had done some type of Bigfoot summoning ritual or appropriate Bigfoot call or whatever you do to summon a Bigfoot. They left out some slabs of bacon or something like that. Apparently Bigfoot is attracted to bacon.
Well, I mean, who isn't attracted to bacon?
I mean, seriously.
Also, who's the guy in Finding Bigfoot?
Bobo?
Bobo.
Yeah.
All of them. They know how to call Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bobo was actually the one that said Bigfoot's attracted to bacon. But I kind of think that Bobo's just attracted to bacon.
He just wanted bacon on set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Larry Doyle Sanders, his friend, was found strangled to death. They were out fishing together. And yeah, apparently he strangled his friend because he thought that his friend had summoned Bigfoot and that Bigfoot was going to try to kill him, apparently to stop him from getting a really big fish. Yeah.
Man, really? It's all about this fish?
They were fishing, yeah.
So maybe, okay.
And Bigfoot was coming to kill him.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I mean, drugs for sure, probably. Drugs involved?
I would think so. So the article that we have now, this podcast didn't exist when the incident first happened, but the article that we have now is reporting on the fact that Sanders was found guilty recently on April 19th. He was found guilty of murder.
Okay.
Even though the actual incident happened in July of 2022.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's this is the quote for it. In a first-degree murder case in Oklahoma, you have an element of malice aforethought, meaning that you have specific intent to cause death of another. And so they proved that he had that specific malice to kill his friend.
Yeah.
Which means it wasn't self-defense or anything like that. Which also, I guess, means that thinking that you are in danger from a Bigfoot is not a good reason. Is not justifiable reason to murder someone.
Maybe it was planned this whole time and he was like, I'm going to come up with this crazy story and they're going to think it's like insanity or it's... I don't know.
I mean, I guess
Maybe.
That's possible. It didn't work if that was the case.
If that's the case, it didn't work. So anyway, yeah, that's that story. There's not much else to the story, really. It's
that's kind of the entire story. It was just that he was found guilty, and it's a very strange incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't just all go blaming cryptids willy-nilly.
Also,
we just can't do it.
I feel like if you summoned Bigfoot, it's probably not going to kill you anyway. Like, we're actually... very soon, we're going to do a series on Bigfoot behavior. And we're going to talk about Albert Ostman, who was kidnapped by a Bigfoot for about a week. And so just some of the other like early Bigfoot reporting around these people who have actually had interactions beyond like, oh, there's a Bigfoot over there.
Yeah, right.
But the people who actually like interacted with them as a community. Ostman is, I think, the biggest, most well-known of them all because he actually got picked up in his sleeping bag and a Bigfoot took him back to camp and like dropped him there. And he lived with the Bigfoot for like a week, 6 days, I think.
That's so cool.
And so he like got to observe their behavior and all of that stuff. And but they didn't try to harm him at all.
Wow, there must have been some great mushrooms he took.
I have a very particular theory about it. And well, like I said, we're going to talk about it soon, and we will talk about that because I think I know exactly what was going on at that time that made Ostman concoct this story.
Okay.
Yeah, which clearly, I should just go out and be like, Albert Ostman didn't live with Bigfoot. Like, he absolutely did not do this. And his story is crazy. It's actually about as crazy as I was fishing and I thought a Bigfoot was coming to kill me.
Yeah, okay. Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
It's a good plug for the next the future episode.
Future episode, because the next series is something
not
else.
That, right, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, since you happen to bring up that I'm the Loch Ness Monster, I'll also just... yeah, I am. Clearly. I've been in disguise this whole time.
It's a good disguise.
I'll also, I mean, what the heck? I will throw out there that, let's see, this episode is going to come out on May 30th. So as of today, May 30th, when this episode comes out, hopefully when you're listening to the episode, there is a new Loch Ness Monster search being done in Scotland as we speak.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It's the 90th anniversary of Sir Edward Mountain's expedition that he had gone on to try to find the monster way back, and we are hoping that they come across something. They were trying to get NASA involved. Did you see this?
No.
Oh yeah, so they were trying to get NASA involved in the hopes that they would be able to borrow some of NASA's, I think, LiDAR technology, at least some type of like satellite mapping.
But NASA... No, go ahead. Yeah.
In order to check out the entire loch.
Okay.
NASA
said no because we do up there stuff, not down there stuff. That's what they said.
That's the quote that you found?
That's a quote. Do up there stuff.
Yeah, NASA did not seem particularly interested about it.
Okay. They're like, are there stars in there? No, don't care. Go away.
But yeah, like, I hope that they can find something. I mean, we'll keep an eye on it.
I don't know.
I initially got really excited about it because I saw that they were doing another expedition. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I looked and it was from May 30th to June 2nd. And I was like, guys, the loch is bigger than that.
Oh, like they're going to need a lot more time?
Yeah, it's just like 3 days. Like, come on. But,
yeah, that's not a lot of time.
Yeah, that's why they need NASA to help out.
They do need NASA. They need all the help they can get. They need Josh Gates. He'll get in there. He'll do fun things.
He did.
I know. They need him again. They need to bring him back.
Yeah, he was there. I think diving is hard, man, because we talked about it. The loch is so peaty. It's so, because of the runoff. So it's really, really hard to see anything. They describe it like tea, I think. It's like the color of tea. So you can put your hand in front of your face. And you might see your hand, but any farther you can't really see. It must be really creepy being down there where there's no visibility like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I know when we dove the blue hole in Belize, that was really creepy. Looking down into the blue hole and not being able to see anything beyond is really freaky to me.
So all I did was snorkel it, I think. But
did I say dive?
Yeah.
Yeah, snorkel. We snorkeled it. Yeah, I've never dove it. That would freak me out, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I could handle that.
Yeah, it was bad enough snorkeling, dude, because I went in there, I loved it. I mean, it was a wonderful experience, but I went in there and they were like, so there are, anything goes in here. Like, there are sharks, there are, everything is in this blue hole. It is in the blue hole, if you can think of it. And I'm like, great. Yeah. And I felt like I was just put into this, like, bathtub of death. Because, like, anything can come and get me. I can't see anything. It's very deep. And it's like... But, man, that was really... It was trippy, dude.
It's a wild experience. It's super cool. Yeah.
I loved it. Even though I only, didn't even get that far down. Because I was just snorkeling.
No, I mean, we probably not more than 10 feet down.
Yeah,
it's only however long you can hold your breath.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I remember our guide swam out, into the middle and did kind of a little... somersault in it and stuff. Do you remember that? And it was just it's so trippy because there's nothing below him. And I kept thinking, man, if you drop something, it's gone. It's never coming back.
It is so gone.
Yeah.
He would free dive too. He knew how to free dive, so he would go in there and he would
deep.
Yeah. He would grab. I remember when we were snorkeling, he would go in and he grabbed a little urchin just to bring it up. Anyway, okay. Well, good luck to them. 3 days is not a long time.
I know. Yeah, well.
They'll have day jobs. They have to get back to work.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. So we got a couple other cool things here that we can talk about. Do you want to talk about reverse engineering UFOs, or do you want to talk about luring aliens with nuclear reactors?
I think they both go hand in hand.
They sort of do go hand in hand.
Yeah, let's talk about both of them. Nuclear reactors.
Nuclear reactors. Yeah, this was a really weird article that I came across on the Daily Star. That the headline is, experts admit they're trying to lure UFOs to Earth with small handheld nuclear reactors.
My first question is, how do we know that UFOs even like nuclear reactors?
This is the problem. And this bothers me so much all the time. This is the same thing that you deal with when you're talking about like ghost hunting technology, where it's like, you do not actually have proof that your ghosts are, say, attracted to any of the trigger objects that you're bringing into that site. Mm-hmm. You have a theory, and you're putting the object in the space, but anything could be interacting with that.
Yes.
And not necessarily a ghost. It could be a demon. It could be a wraith. It could be like, who knows, yes. It could be an invisible tulpa. Like, mm-hmm. You're just assuming that it's a ghost. So that in itself is not proving, even if something happens to that trigger object that you bring in the space, that's not proof of a ghost existing. And the same thing with like an EVP. We've never proved that EVPs are ghost voices. And in fact, we talked about EVPs in our Sloss Furnace episode, mm-hmm. or series. Go check that out. Yeah. We did an extensive discussion on EVPs and why I think EVPs are just... I think EVPs are just someone misinterpreting what they hear on recorded devices. That's what okay. I think EVPs are. Mm-hmm. And I have not seen anything that has proven otherwise for me. Mm-hmm. But there is no proof that is a ghost speaking on that thing. That's just you caught something anomalous, but it doesn't mean that it's a ghost. It doesn't mean that it's a demon. It doesn't mean that that's not some like invisible Bigfoot whispering next to you. Mm-hmm. You've never proved what it is. All of that is all of that is to say that UFOs, we don't know that UFOs or aliens are attracted to radiation to begin with. So why would we be creating handheld nuclear reactors to attempt to lure them in? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, what is the criteria for identifying a UFO versus the criteria for identifying a ghost? Like, it's all we have is shaky aggregate data that doesn't tell us, like, okay, I could tell you, like, there's a glass of water in front of you. I know what a glass of water looks like. Like, we have mm-hmm. examples of them. We make them, they're repeatable. We don't know what ghosts really, if they're real, we don't really know what they're like and how to measure them properly. And we just have a bunch of shaky instances where we think we might have seen these things. Same with UFOs, same with aliens.
Right.
I want this shit to be real though, dude. Like, it's frustrating for me because I want this stuff to be real.
So Kevin Nuth, who's a professor of physics at the University of Albany, he's the one who's credited with coming up with this concept. And he said, we were trying to figure out how we can lure UFOs and work out how to make contact. We settled on the fact that UFOs have an interest in and an ability to detect nuclear weapons, some of them underground, some of them in bunkers or storage depots.
He determined that they have an interest in these things.
But he doesn't say how. He just says we determined that. And I don't know what that means. So here's the thing. I 100% believe that there are, call them UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena that exists around nuclear testing sites. Mm-hmm. But my suspicion would be less that it's aliens and more that it is some type of satellite observation. That would be my guess.
Oh, like that's what's interested?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess. Because I would assume that it if anything, it's probably a foreign power that would be observing that.
Yes. That makes sense.
But he so that's him on the diving board. He's not even going to jump off yet. He jumps off and continues on with this quote and says, how do they do this? That's how do they detect the nuclear site? Are they using neutrinos, which are really hard to detect, or gamma rays? We don't know, but my colleague has developed a new technology which is basically a handheld lithium-powered nuclear fission reactor, which he is now patenting. Which is one of the scariest sentences I think I've ever read.
I think the next scary sentence is, and soon it will be available on Amazon Prime.
To be perfectly honest, that is what this sounds like to me.
Yeah, they want to mass market it.
That's what it sounds like. It makes me think of Aztec again. It makes me think of Silas Newton running around selling doodlebugs.
Except this is the most dangerous doodlebug you can imagine.
But maybe it doesn't work.
If it does, this will be shut down so quickly. I guarantee you the FBI is watching this guy.
Yeah.
If he wants to start patenting and dispersing nuclear weapons, handheld nuclear
what
weapons.
What are you doing, dude?
You know what, though? I gotta say, I've never been more proud of Albany. I'm just, the egg was one thing. The construction of the egg in Albany was one. It's the egg. It's like famous. It's a famous like concert hall shaped like an egg.
This is just it. So Albany has a big egg.
Yeah, it's the egg.
And that's like what it's known for.
It actually kind of looks like a spaceship, honestly. Maybe that's why he got the idea.
Oh my god, it's literally called the egg.
It's amazing.
It doesn't look like an egg. It looks like a dish.
It's kind of a spaceship looking thing. It's pretty cool.
It looks more like a clam than an egg.
Nobody would go to the clam.
I love clams. What are you talking about?
I love clams too, but it doesn't sound as cool.
Does it really sound cool to go to the egg?
I mean, I grew up around the egg, so it sounds like a normal thing to me.
Is this a performing arts space?
Yeah.
So you would be like, yeah, I went to see a Slayer concert at the egg.
It's a big deal. Yeah, it's fucking cool, man. You went to the egg. It's fucking cool.
I apologize to all our Albany listeners. I know we have a bunch of New York listeners.
Hey,
I'm sorry as I'm bashing your precious egg.
Yeah, don't bash the egg, man. Don't break the egg. That egg is hard boiled in the rough regions of the Adirondacks. That egg takes no shit from you.
So anyway, you're proud of them for making the egg, but you're even prouder because...
Yeah, because Albany's on the map once again. We're in the news. Look, that's my area. I'm from, that area roughly,
For making... Yeah. So Albany can now be known for the egg and making individual handheld nuclear reactors. I wonder if they're going to have to do, like, special screenings at the egg to make sure you don't bring your handheld nuclear reactors into that space.
I feel like they give you a pass at the egg.
They'd be like, oh, this is an Albany patented one?
Right.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, you're local. It's okay.
Yeah. Instead of having lighters that you hold up during the quiet songs, they'll have the egg. Or the nuclear reactors. Yeah, you hold up your nuclear reactors. Just spray radiation all over the place.
It's a vibe.
And he specifically... I still haven't gotten through this quote.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. He specifically says... I want to really drive this home, because he specifically says, the idea is to go out and power our UFO observing equipment with nuclear reaction, and maybe these guys will detect it and come down and find out what, quote, those crazy monkeys are up to this time. And we can get some imagery or data. That's our plan. So... This guy, Kevin Nuth, who is a professor of physics at Albany, 100% believes that not only that UFOs are attracted to radiation, but also that he's going to be able to lead them to us with radiation, and that it's a good idea to put this in the public's hands.
Okay, so besides putting it in the public's hands, I love this guy. This guy's awesome. I don't agree with putting nukes in the public's hands. I don't agree with nukes in anybody's hands, but definitely not. Definitely not that.
It's just it absolutely bonkers. It's
completely
bonkers.
Insane. It's completely insane.
Honestly, he's got a partner with Harvard and Avi Loeb, because Avi Loeb is looking for it anyway, and I feel like Avi Loeb is intelligent enough to be like, whoa, okay, hang on.
He's gonna crush his dream.
Slow your roll, man.
Yeah. Well, I love this. This is great. Oh man. Okay, so like this guy. What's the next alien story connected to this though?
Yeah. So there's this.
Yeah.
Right, and then the other story, and this popped up in Politico. is that the U.S. once considered a program to reverse engineer alien spacecrafts.
Okay, but my question is,
Yes.
if they never really had alien spacecrafts to begin with, how would they reverse engineer them?
That's a great question, EJ.
Thanks.
That's a great
I'm
question.
full of them. Are they assuming...
Okay.
Explain this to me.
Okay, so it goes like this. All right, so this is all part of the disclosure movement that we've been talking about for the better part of a year at this point. The Defense Department released a public version of a congressionally ordered comprehensive review of U.S. government programs. So basically, this is partly a result of everything that went down with David Grush last year. A review was ordered for a bunch of the spending that the U.S. government had been doing throughout the past 60, 70 years. Yeah. And as part of that, something that came to light, and this is a review of programs since 1945, and the Congress said that it had found no evidence of extraterrestrial activity or efforts to withhold information regarding extraterrestrial activity. So basically, during all of their reviews, we talked about this last month, I think, on our last Fortean Roundup. During their whole review, they're like, okay, we don't have it. We've never had it. However, the new news is that the Department of Defense's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, these fucking acronyms, right? They did discover a program that was codenamed Kona Blue, which is like Hawaiian coffee. I don't know why it took that name. But this is a program from 2010. And I had heard about Kona Blue like in passing a couple of months ago as it was starting to like pop up. But Kona Blue was a program that was set out. It was never funded. It was never actualized, but it was a program that was set out to potentially reverse engineer any discovered extraterrestrial craft. So Kona Blue never said, "Hey, we've got it. This is the roadmap to reverse engineer it." Kona Blue was just saying, if we come across them at some point in the future, this is how we're going to approach them.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the Kona Blue program was rejected by the Department of Homeland Security for, quote, lacking merit, because I think Homeland Security was finally like, dude, we don't have any UFOs. Why are we even devoting the resources to programs to reverse engineer something we don't have?
Fair enough.
The report says, and this is a quote from the report, "It is critical to note that no extraterrestrial craft or bodies were ever collected. This material was only assumed to exist by Kona Blue advocates and its anticipated contract performers."
Okay.
Now, EJ, let's do a little bit of, what do you call it? Like connect the dots. Right?
Sure.
Okay. So we're assuming, we have Kona Blue here, right? We are assuming that there is a contract performer who would be part of Kona Blue if at some point we recovered a spacecraft.
Yeah.
So who do you think would get the contract to do the reverse engineering through Kona Blue?
Is this around what time period is this?
2010.
Bigelow?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So all of those contracts.
At it again.
That's the thing, right? All of those contracts were all wrapped up in all the machinations that Robert Bigelow was doing with Senator Harry Reid in 2008, 2010, 2012. That whole time when they siphoned off millions of taxpayer dollars to fund Bigelow's Gaia-ish research into all kinds of anomalous shit that never panned out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No wonder they were like, no, we're not gonna do that. Because there could have been an element also to put him on retainer before, like, who knows? I'm just assuming this, but
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's where I kind of understand it.
Yeah.
And where I was thinking that this could have been going is
Sure.
that if you wanted to create a program whose intention is to reverse engineer foreign entities, not UFO, but from other countries that we don't understand, that makes sense. And if you wanted to wrap up, and if it happens to be an extraterrestrial, Cool. We'll
Yeah.
use the same methods.
Right.
That makes sense to me because you never know what other countries could be working on. They could be ahead of us technologically.
Yes.
Probably not, but they could be. There could be something out there. So I get that. But this is strictly extraterrestrial.
Right.
Okay. And it's Bigelow.
Yeah.
Red flags.
This is a quote from the Politico article that I think is really telling. The official purpose of the aerospace weapons program was to research 12 areas of cutting-edge science, such as advanced lift and signature reduction, which makes sense, right? Like, I'm behind that. Cool, fine. We've been doing that for a long time, right? But the team also investigated, quote, an alleged hotspot of UAP and paranormal activity at a property in Utah, which at the time was hosted by the head of the mysterious private sector organization, according to the report. The research included examining reports of shadow figures and creatures, as well as plans to hire psychics to study interdimensional phenomena believed to appear at the site.
I have a thought. Maybe we already talked about this.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Is this whole thing just a front?
For what?
Who the fuck knows?
Oh.
Like, this is my conspiracy theory of the day, folks. Like,
Go. Lay it on me. Lay it on me.
What if this whole Skinwalker Ranch thing is like doing this stuff in the daylight, money laundering, and like taking all the money in the daylight under Harry Reid, under all these guises of paranormal stuff, just to maybe wash the money, put it somewhere else. You know, this is a false front. Yeah, sure, we're gonna research the paranormal, but actually this money is going into some really dark, terrible places. Actually,
I mean, I don't know. So
it's my theory.
Bigelow was a hotelier. I don't know what you call it.
Hotelier.
Yeah. He was a hotel guy.
Yeah.
He had an aerospace program. So they were doing some type of aerospace research, but he had some like deep belief in this weird Fortean shit that he wanted to research and wanted to really, really drill into. And I mean, he was rich when he started, but we know that he was funding Ron DeSantis earlier this year. You know, he's putting money, no matter what, he is putting money behind candidates, obviously on both sides, because he was working with Harry Reid, who was a Democrat 10, 15 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
So Bigelow is some type of influencer somewhere.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if that money was going someplace that I didn't agree with, because I already don't agree with him funding some of the people that he funds.
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying that what I said is true. I just wanted to say that that's my fun conspiracy theory of the day.
I appreciate it.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like me being like, well, I wish aliens were real, but I just don't see evidence yet. It makes me sad.
Arrow has not brought me any evidence.
No.
Anyway.
I'm waiting, though. I'm waiting and I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And if Bigelow finds some freaking awesome evidence, man, I'll appreciate that about him. I will. I don't think he's on his way to do that.
I think Robert Bigelow is only interested in enriching himself. I don't think Robert Bigelow is interested in any part of the truth. And I think that he happens to take very well-meaning individuals and wrap them up and drag them along for the ride. Yeah. But I think he's going to chew them up and spit them out, too.
For real.
Yeah. Kona Blue, that program, they believed that the government was hiding UAP technology, for the record.
Well, yeah. That's not surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this kind of goes back to the legions of documents that we've had that are all echoing the same stories as before.
Right. The Aztec being confused with Roswell.
Aztec being confused with Roswell. The stuff that actually happened at Roswell that we're going to talk about soon, I think. We're going to talk about Roswell soon, but the crash that actually happened. Because part of the problem is that when Roswell went down in 1947, the government lied. I'm not going to sugarcoat that at all. Like the thing that crashed in Roswell, something landed on a farm in Roswell, and it was part of a top secret government program. It was not an alien spacecraft, but it was part of a top secret government program, and the government lied about it and said, "Oh, it's a weather balloon." And because they lied about it, they sowed mistrust.
Purposefully. Probably, right?
I don't think they intended to purposefully do that, though.
Well, what about then when did like the Mirage Men come in then?
Yeah, this is getting really big and out of hand.
Okay,
but
all
so,
right.
yeah, all right.
I guess I'm confusing the two ideas.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So let's do a quick UFO timeline, right?
Yeah.
Because this might help our listeners too. And I promise anyone who's new to the podcast, who this might be the first episode that you're hearing us banter about all of this shit. On our individual series, we go into a lot more detail about all of these things. The Fortean Roundup is always kind of our glossing over of the news of the day and how that pertains. So essentially how all of the research that we're doing for all the series factor into the modern day news of today.
Yeah, go back and listen to the Aztec UFO crash, because that's fun.
Yeah, we did like 5 hours on the Aztec UFO crash. If you want to really get into the weeds and listen to me totally nerd out about UFOs, that's the place for you.
Yeah.
So, okay, the modern UFO mythology kind of, sort of, ish starts in the 1940s. Kenneth Arnold sees something in the sky, coins the term flying saucer. Then something crashes in Roswell, New Mexico that the public wasn't entirely sure what happened at that time. Turns out it was a secret government program. The government lied about it, called it a weather balloon. It wasn't a weather balloon. That all goes quiet for a little bit. Then our good friend Silas Newton grabs that thread of the Roswell thread and rides that, claims that there were saucers that crashed in the southwestern desert and that he has recovered technology from them. And that story gets blown out of proportion again within 5 years or so from Silas Newton running around trying to sell bogus technology. He gets convicted of fraud and never actually ended up in jail, but at least the story gets blown apart. Then in the 1970s, there's this guy named Robert Spencer Carr who picks up Silas Newton's story again and starts repeating it about, oh no, the US government has crashed flying saucers and this is the evidence of it. It doesn't take too long before people research the claims that Carr is making and say, hey, no, that's just Silas Newton, that was all bogus. Carr then backtracks on his story and says, oh, whoa, I didn't mean Aztec, New Mexico, I meant Roswell, New Mexico. And then the stories get kind of conflated together. So that's like the story of how Roswell got conflated with Aztec. Now, about that same time, there was some type of aerospace development being done at a site called Area 51. And we know that's legitimately true. And we can talk about that, but we talked about all the different planes that were being developed at the time and the technology and things. And a lot of it was radar cloaking as well. And I think also the development of drone technology. So there was this guy who was living near Area 51 who started picking up radio broadcasts. He was just like a ham radio operator, and he started picking up radio broadcasts. And I swear we're going to do a deep dive on this very soon. But so he started picking up these broadcasts that were coming out of Area 51, and he was like, "Whoa, they're developing all kinds of technology there." And then the U.S. government agents came to his house and was like, "No, that's not what you heard." And through a couple different incidents surrounding that, he started thinking that they had actually recovered space technology and extraterrestrial technology. And once he got that thought in his head, very, very smart people in the US government were just like, oh yeah, don't tell him that's not true. And so agents kept coming to his house and kept saying to him, don't say anything about the aliens. Not like, oh no, we don't have them, the way they're kind of saying it now because the government has gotten itself in so much trouble over this. Now they're saying there's no evidence of extraterrestrial contact. We do not have extraterrestrial craft. But at the time, because we were in the Cold War, it was more beneficial for them to say nothing rather than deny.
Yeah.
because they didn't want the Soviets to know what was going on our home soil, which was the development of radar cloaking technology and like the B-2 bomber and the development of drone technology. And I can just see your eyes glazing over, so I'll stop.
No. They're not glazing.
Okay.
They're shimmering with great interest.
So that is like the history of UFOs from Roswell to Area 51 through about the late 80s, early 90s.
And this is where I'm really interested, because I loved it when they're just like, don't talk about the aliens. Because this is like, wow, what a great way to completely like, what's the word I'm looking for?
You just
delegitimize this man.
Well, and that's the thing. I think that what happens is that we always laugh about how there are like counter intel agents out there. And I think they're fucking real. It's just that the counter intel are the ones that are out there being like, no, these aliens are real.
Yeah.
You know? They're the ones that are pushing this stuff because they don't want what we're really working on to get out. It's the same deal with why Project Sign, Saucer, and Blue Book was implemented to begin with, because we were developing. Do you remember all the flying breakfast foods?
Yes.
The flying flapjack.
Pancake. Oh, flapjack. Yeah.
No, there was the flying
pancake.
That was followed by the flying flapjack.
Okay.
And then there was the Avro car, which was essentially just a flying saucer. And we needed to know, if people are seeing these, we got to fucking know about it. That's why Project Sign, which then became Project Saucer, was implemented, and then Project Blue Book after that.
Okay.
Sorry, I love this shit, man.
I know you do. Oh my god, this is what I'm talking about, guys.
That's what we got.
This is why I've got to go to the circus and make me some money.
That's my spider sound from D&D, actually.
That is your spider sound from D&D. Yeah, like it.
Okay. So anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, this Politico article, basically the takeaway here is that Kona Blue was something that was pretty clearly put forth as a joint effort by Bigelow and his influence to try to get more contracts under his name, probably for Bigelow Aerospace and certainly for the other organizations that he was running. And luckily, our government was intelligent enough to be like, whoa, pump the brakes. We should not be doing this because there is no reason to waste our resources doing this.
We're already funneling too much money to Bigelow to begin with. And look what that did. Nothing.
Well, which is clear, too, because we're still talking about it 20 years later. Or, 10 years later, we're still talking about it. And we're still saying, where is this money going? That was part of the whole Grush disclosure last July. That was one of the things that, like, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez was worried about. Like, why are all of these dollars being funneled into these budgets? And then we just kind of throw our hands up and be like, oh, sorry, it's classified.
Right.
I mean, I don't need to know that. I'm just an individual. I don't need to know that. But I kind of think Congress should.
Mm-hmm. I think so, too.
They're the ones that are making the decisions for me. That's why I elect them. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that's that's where we're at with that. We will keep updating as these things keep popping up. It seems like they are continually popping up at this point. As things develop, we'll keep talking about it. But are you ready to now cycle away from aliens for a little bit and talk about some cryptozoology news?
Yes.
Sweet. Awesome. We'll save our big story for our last story, I think.
Okay, sure.
And we will jump to the fact that there has been DNA confirmation that there is a population of big cats roaming the British countryside.
Man, and I used to think the only real fear in the British countryside was a badger.
Badgers? Badgers are fucking scary, dude.
Badgers will fuck you up, I know.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was it. Like, when I think about England and the beautiful countryside of England, I think, it is fine. There was really nothing to worry about in England. Right. Nothing will hurt you. Like, maybe you'll get hypothermia if you get lost in the Quantox. Okay, as Jez and Mark have done.
Peep show, great show.
Yes, but like, I don't know. I just think England is so peaceful, and then bam, no, they're big cats.
They're big cats. Well, aren't there wolves too?
I think they got hunted out of extinction.
Oh, they did. You're right. Yeah.
Hunted into extinction.
When
You
you went hunting
don't-
out of extinction.
Right, yeah, that's not really how that works. Yeah.
So this is wild, and I before we started recording, I dug out one of the early paranormal books that I had, because I want to read this here. So
Story time with Matt.
story time, yes. Young children gather around. So this is Jerome Clark's Unexplained. This is the second edition. I actually have both editions. But
Astounding.
But this is one of the books that really fueled my interest when I was a kid. And I remember very distinctly reading about this and being like, oh my God. So there seems to be a population of large felines in Britain. They call them alien cats in this book, by the way. In the summer of 1962, something described as like a young lion cub, definitely not a fox or dog, was seen near a reservoir in a Hampshire park. Other sightings occurred but got no more than local attention. All that changed on July 18th, 1963, when a truck driver passing through the Oxleys Woods, Shooters Hill, London, early that morning, was startled to see a leopard leap across the road and into the trees on the other side. Later that day, 4 police officers had an even closer encounter. A large golden animal jumped over the hood of their squad car before disappearing into the woods. A massive search involving dozens of officers, soldiers, and dogs found only large footprints of a cat-like animal.
Damn.
So this is wild, right? Because that sounds like one of those things that you would just dismiss and say, like there is no evidence for this. Couple people misidentified something, we'd snap our fingers and we'd say this was probably mass hysteria, let's not worry about it, right? But so now, and I should also say that in the that was 1962, in the intervening 60 years, every now and then reports will pop up of someone who sees a big cat in the British countryside, in the UK somewhere. We see them in Scotland sometimes. Like they're kind of all over. And so for the first time, big cat DNA has been found on a carcass in the UK. So this is really, really cool. The University of Warwick, there's a Professor Robin Albee. And Albee told BBC Wildlife that they were able to lift DNA swabs from carcasses, and there is no doubt that it was taken from a non-native big cat. He also mentioned that he had previously had a claw sent to him from someone who also said that they found that claw and that it belonged to a big cat. But he did, that can be anything, right?
Yeah, sure.
Not necessarily. So, yeah, they found this DNA evidence on a deer carcass that had been scavenged. That's
so cool. So I'm interested. So there have been no attacks, no like human attacks.
I don't know of any human attacks by big cats in Britain. No.
So somebody must have let their pet out or something.
So
do they have theories on how this started?
So this is fascinating because this is the other reason that I wanted to bring in Jerome Clark's Unexplained, this book here.
Okay.
Because in this it says August of 1983. A Buckinghamshire woman saw a large puma-like black cat wearing a studded collar, suggesting, of course, that someone had once owned it before releasing it into the wild. And then in August of 1975, a Manchester man captured a leopard cub with a collar.
There had to be more than one, too, like a female and male,
right,
because they're breeding out in the wild now.
Right. So what's interesting is that, yes, at some point, and I mean, exotic animals... We've all seen Tiger King, right? Like exotic animal trade is a thing. And certainly, I know that you always hear the rumors about like cartels and sort of these like organized crime rings and stuff. When you have your pounds of opium or whatever, you have like a big cat guarding it.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But there's also plenty of people who are just like rich and they're like, I want a fucking ocelot. Give me an ocelot.
Yes.
But yes, so it seems like what we are to believe here is that there was enough of these big cats that escaped that were able to breed and have potentially continued to have a small but functioning breeding population in the UK.
And they are somewhere out there.
They're
clearly.
somewhere out there. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that wild?
It's completely, literally wild. It's literally wild. I don't know. I kind of think this is so fascinating and sort of fun. I think that if I were a Brit, I would be scared.
Sure.
Especially if I was a Brit that enjoyed hiking and enjoying nature.
Yeah.
I'd be a little nervous.
I mean, it sounds like that. Now they just describe it as jaguars, panthers, something like that. But it seems like a lot of that language is sort of the way we use it the same way to describe like mountain lions or something like that.
Okay. Are they? So they're golden. They were saying golden colored.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
yeah. Although I think I have encountered incidents of black cats as well.
Okay. It makes me wonder if something happened in like the 60s. Because this is like a 60s story, 62. They had the police incident with the cat.
Right.
It makes me wonder if there was somebody with a bunch of cats that like died or was going to die and so let them go and didn't want to fess up to it because they probably had to pay a lot of fines and go to jail or...
Yeah.
I don't know. It was something like that. Like somebody had to release a bunch of them for some reason and there you go.
Are you familiar with the Beast of Exmoor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the same thing. Yeah. That's the concept.
Yeah.
The Beast of Exmoor is this
right.
alleged giant cat. Giant meaning like not a house cat size, right? Britain has house cats, but yes, a large panther-sized cat that apparently lives in the England countryside somewhere.
This is the cryptozoology stuff that I love. Like it's like there is something out there.
Yeah, there is something there. And it seems like it's real. We're getting legitimate DNA evidence from it. Mm-hmm. Whenever you get DNA evidence from Bigfoot, it's always like, oh, that's inconclusive, whatever. Like, we have DNA evidence that says there is a cat that the evidence showed that it's from the species, the jaguar species.
That's...
Jaguars, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Uh-huh.
Wow, Britain could become a very interesting...
Very feral country, right? Yeah. It's also worth noting that there have been over 1,500 reports of big cats in Britain.
Since when? Is there a time span?
Since 2004.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Are they isolated to a certain area of the country?
No.
Well, it's a pretty small piece of land comparatively. Like... So
it is, yeah, absolutely.
If they do want to populate, they're going to populate quick. Like I, you know what I mean? Like I feel like they don't have a lot of opportunity to spread out unless they want to try their hands up north in the colder Orkney area.
Yeah, I'm not sure they want to do that.
They're going to stick to the lovely southern England.
Also, have you ever heard of the Beast of Barnet?
No.
Oh, I'll dump this one on you too. So 2001. Mm-hmm. A Eurasian lynx was captured alive by police and vets in North London.
Ooh.
After a chase across a school playing field and into a block of apartments.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Where'd it come from?
They don't know. They don't know.
Yeah. Somebody is... they got these freaking people with these exotic animals. They should not have them.
I mean... That seems like the most logical explanation. Yeah. We have the animals that have collars on that were sighted or caught. Mm-hmm. You know, it just seems like they were somebody's pet. Mm-hmm. They got loose, and now they're just breeding in the countryside. Mm-hmm. And they're probably contained enough because, you know, I don't know that there's that much of food for them that they could really, really thrive. There's probably not that many, but obviously there's enough.
Well, you know, and the thing about England is that they have no shortage of sheep. So
this is also true.
If these jaguars want to continue to breed, they're going to have no freaking problem.
Very true. Well,
watch out, English listeners.
Seriously.
Keep your heads on a swivel.
Put those masks on the back of your heads.
Yeah.
The tiger masks where they have faces on the backs of their heads so the cats can't sneak up on them.
There you go.
That's what you need.
Smart.
Just put Charles on the back.
Charles?
Put King Charles on the back of your head so they won't sneak up on you.
If I were to pick any Englishman to put on the back of my head for safety, it would be Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Well, yeah.
No cats would fuck with me.
No cats would fuck with you at all.
They'd be like, oh, that's Tom Hardy. Oh, okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go beat up somebody else. That guy knows jujitsu.
Does he?
Yes, he does. He's learning jujitsu now.
Oh.
Because he had to make himself even cooler. Jackass. I love him.
Well, we got one more story here, and it's a big one, and it follows really nicely with the big cat story that we just talked about.
Okay.
And that is, of course, the Thylacine.
Yeah. Yeah, which I keep calling the Thessalonian because I can't remember how to say it.
Thessalonian? Isn't that something from the Bible?
I think so. Like, yeah, what's this news with the Thessalonian thing?
Thessalonian.
I don't know. Thylacine, okay.
You can say the Tasmanian tiger.
Okay. The Thylacine sounds like the Holocene. It sounds like an epic of time instead of like the Anthropocene.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's why I want to say Thessalonian because it sounds like an actual thing, like a creature.
Well,
anyway, I didn't.
The Tasmanian tiger. Then.
I can't do anything about this. I'm just saying. Okay, so the Tasmanian tiger. So there was this big news about this thing.
So it's funny. I had heard about this about 3 months ago. I'd say because I'll be very candid that I did not know anything about this researcher. His name is Forrest Galante, and he is a biologist. He's sort of a Josh Gatesy kind of figure. He's a television personality as well. Originally, I think his first appearance on television was on the show Naked and Afraid, where he was part of the you remember Naked and Afraid? They would drop you in a place and you had to survive. It was a little bit like Alone, but more tempered.
Were you for real naked?
I don't think so.
False advertising.
Well, you're allowed to bring one helpful item, such as a machete or a fire starter.
And afraid is really up to you. So the whole thing is a lie. You might not even be afraid, okay? Anyway, I have beef with the show. So, okay, he started...
My helpful item would be a pizzeria.
You would bring an entire pizzeria?
I'm going to bring an entire pizzeria. Okay. That's or like smart. A shrimp boat. I'd be like, yeah, can I bring a fishing boat?
That is very smart. I like that.
So anyway, he participated in their survival challenge. And he participated, he was in Panama when he participated. And I guess based off of that, he kind of started a docuseries that premiered on Animal Planet. And now he runs his own YouTube channel that seems like he's pretty successful. Okay. So it's worth pointing out that I know that he's come under some fire as not being necessarily a true researcher and more of an entertainment personality. And so I just want to be completely clear that I don't fault him for that at all. Essentially, that's what we're doing here. I'm not really a scientist. I am a magician and a filmmaker who has a deep interest in this kind of stuff, but I would never claim to be an expert in animal biology or something like that.
Right.
So just, full disclosure for all of that.
Right, and he's not claiming that about himself. I think.
I mean, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same thing. And the same way that Dan Carlin is not really a historian, and I'm not sure Dan Carlin would ever claim to be a historian, and he absolutely gives deep and interesting history, but it's also a little bit candy history. As deep as Dan Carlin goes, you can go even deeper than anything else. He's come under a lot of fire from that.
Really? Wait, candy history? Yeah. What are you talking about, candy history?
He's not really a historian. That he's sort of delivering an entertainment version of history.
I'm sorry, but whatever gets the kids learning, okay? Well, come on, man.
This is also kind of the whole, why does history have to be fucking boring?
Exactly.
This is a separate conversation. We're running off the rails.
No, but listen, though, I have to push back, though, because Dan Carlin is why I know so much about World War II and World War I. I mean,
he's a huge inspiration for me, too.
Yeah, he's the freaking, in my eyes, he is a god of history in my eyes. He is an aficionado. He never claims to be a historian.
But I think that there is a very particular subset of historians, or at least history buffs, maybe, that, not to sound rude, but I think that they believe that history is only important when it's boring. And that Dan Carlin is delivering entertainmentized history.
But he does his research And he contextualizes
I mean,
everything.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I know. I don't have
Yeah.
to fight you on it, but it's just I need to stand up and defend this man. Not that he needs my dumb ass to defend him, because he is like amazing and famous and whatever. But like, I love him, and I think that it should always be entertaining.
And that's kind of the Forrest Galante thing too. Like, obviously, this dude, he's making videos on YouTube. You know, he's not publishing scientific papers through fucking JSTOR or whatever, right? But somebody's got to do that. Somebody's got to make me interested in fucking animal biology. And if that's that dude, great.
Because what
awesome.
happens, because like maybe I go and I pick up a book and I read more from a historian.
Totally,
because you've just made me very interested in this topic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that's a reason to criticize him.
No.
Anyway, so about 3 months ago, he teased something about the Thylacine and that there might be some new news coming out. And he delivered last month by releasing a video where he talks about some photographs that he was sent by someone living in New Zealand who claims that they took these photographs of a Thylacine that they saw along the road. He presented them, and Forrest Galante has been very matter of fact about it. I won't say that he's even necessarily skeptical. He's very just sort of like, these are the photographs. I'm doing the research. He's not saying that they're real. He's not saying that they're not. He's just kind of putting them out there. He did say that they looked legit and that the one that has its mouth open looks kind of bullshit, which I think is funny. But yeah, I mean, he was not discrediting the photos when he released the video. They got me really, really excited when I saw them, though. I mean, the Thylacine, you know, the Thylacine is one of the cornerstones of cryptozoology. Obviously, always has been. You know, the idea that there's this animal that went extinct. We believe that the last one died in captivity in the 1930s. But these reports crop up, you know? And now it's kind of the same thing as what we're talking about with the big cats in the UK countryside. Like, they crop up every now and then. Somebody's like, I saw this weird dog. It had stripes on it. Yeah. You know? There was a very famous series of photos in the 1980s that were released that really, really look like they were a Thylacine. And they were released by a hunter who claimed that he saw it, who was very cagey about the location. And a lot of people have been because they're worried about poaching.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And so this has been a continual problem because we want to find the evidence that it's real. We want to be able to say like, hey, yeah, there are still some Thylacines out there, but we can't just be like, there they are. You know, it was last seen in this location, for fear that people are just going to run and hunt them and then walk home with a Thylacine pelt.
And they'll really be gone.
And then they'll really be gone. So it's so hard, man.
Yeah, which is why when this guy was talking to Forrest, I kind of understand. I think his face was hidden.
His face was obscured. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I get it. You got to do that. It's funny, though, because if this is all not real, and when Forrest said the one with its mouth open looks like bullshit, the other ones look pretty good. It's interesting because, like, I'm almost thinking, like, okay, if I were going to hoax this, I would almost want to do a couple of photos that are kind of bad. Yeah. And just leave it at that. Yeah. And just let your imagination run from there. Like, don't give too many photos if you're faking it, because someone's going to scrutinize them and they're going to find a problem, which they did. Yes.
And so there were a couple of people who have been critical of the photos, or not Forrest Galante, but some of the people who were doing the research, who mentioned that there was a particular sculptor who's goes by the handle Architeuthis, who had done, I bumped into this guy a while back online, because he had released a quote-unquote velociraptor or Deinonychus that he said was outside his kitchen window, and he had a really cool sculpture of that. Cool. That he had put up. But he actually made a life-size Thylacine dummy that could open and close its mouth, and it looks very much identical to the images that were captured by this unnamed New Zealand man. Yeah. That doesn't mean that they're not real, but it raises some red flags.
If it's not real, how did he get... Did he just find photos of that guy's work online and maybe,
they were
alter
available
them?
online.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Architeuthis' work was available online.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing that people pointed out is that it seems like, despite the fact that they claim that they saw it along the side of the road and then it ran into the bushes, it doesn't seem like there was motion blur on the pictures. Yeah. Man, it's really hard because... So I'm a filmmaker. I deal a lot in images, digital images, and pixelation and all of that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. These photos, to me, I will say, look like they were taken off a iPhone or a Google Pixel or something like that, zoomed in a lot. They seem to match the kind of pixelation that I would expect from a camera like that. Not the pixelation I would expect if you just took someone else's picture and plopped it into Photoshop and then made it shitty.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I don't know exactly what to make of that. I could totally be wrong.
These were not trail cam photos. They were supposed to be taken on a phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were taken off. That they claimed that they were taken on a phone. The photographer said they pulled their car over after seeing what they thought was a dog in need of help by the roadside. And then that animal noticed them, and they ran toward it before the creature opened its mouth, snarled at them, ran into the trees and disappeared. And that's where we get the photos from that Forrest posted in his video.
I don't know why there isn't motion blur. That's a good question.
It's it's really kind of a sticking point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I know at least the iPhone has a mode where I forget what it's called, but it takes a burst, a series of photos, and then it picks, using an AI algorithm, it picks the best version, and that's the one it selects.
Oh, I think Google Pixel does that too.
I'm not sure. I'm an iPhone user, so
I know,
I
but I
don't
thought
know
I saw
if
advertisement
the Pixel does.
for that.
But that makes it a little bit more reasonable that
Sure.
there wouldn't be motion blur.
Sure, definitely,
You know?
yes. Yes.
If they were shining light on it, if somebody had a flashlight and the other person was taking pictures, that might explain why there was no motion blur. If they had enough light, and the shutter was firing fast enough, it's an interesting moment. It's a very interesting moment in time because I'm not entirely sure what to make of them.
Well, yeah, and I saw a side-by-side comparison of what is it?
Architeuthis.
Architeuthis stuff and the photo.
Yes.
And somebody did a comparison of the two, especially with the one with the mouth open, and it looked very similar.
I know, yeah.
Which is a really disappointing thing.
But that raises the question, too, just to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Is it that was a copy of Architeuthis' photo? Or is Architeuthis' model just extremely accurate to the real Thylacine?
Exactly.
And then they saw the real Thylacine.
That's what I want to know. Exactly.
Yeah,
I kind of thought that too.
I really don't know.
Right. Right. And so now, and you said something about how it's all gone kind of quiet lately.
Yeah, it's interesting because there was initially a lot of commotion about 2 weeks ago when this first came out. And now I haven't seen much discussion of it at all. And part of that might just be news cycle. Mm-hmm. That things pop up and things disappear and whatever. But I'm a little disappointed because it seems like most of the cryptozoological community was just like, oh, interesting, and then moved on with their lives. And I think this is really fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to know more. It's unfortunate though because you got a lot of things going against you for this. Which could be why there's nothing more to be said, because the guy is not showing his face. He's probably not saying where they saw it in New Zealand.
Right.
So you can't go there. We can't escalate this by finding out more.
Right.
And it's just a bunch of photographs. Yeah. So it's what can you do? No wonder no one's talking about it, because there's nothing to be said, I think.
There was a Thylacine researcher named Braden Holmes who published a book in 2023 on the Thylacine, and he did take a look at the photos. And so he said that it looks like whatever animal is depicted in the photos is more heavily built than what he anticipates a Thylacine to be. Mm. And the jaws that you were talking about in that photo were set too far apart at the rear of the mouth to be a real thylacine.
Oh.
And he cites it's the historical photos. We have a couple really nice photos of the thylacine opening its mouth. It always looks like it's yawning to me because they have this very distinct kind of like big
huge.
opening. Yeah, this researcher Brayden Holmes said that the photographic evidence that we have of the real thylacine in captivity, their jaws were much closer together than the one that was photographed. I'm kind of inclined to listen to those experts there.
Yeah.
You know, I just really want it to be true, man. And I know these reports pop up, and it's a lot like the big cats. Like, I think it would be really, really cool if there was still even a small population of thylacines out there breeding and surviving. Because I don't want them to be extinct, man.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't want any of these precious little animals to be extinct.
I know.
It's really cool. I wonder what kind of noise it made. You know, I want to know all those things.
So it actually says here that this is according to the National Film and Sound Archive of Australia. Mm-hmm. It says that thylacines were usually mute, but they were capable of husky coughing barks when excited and terrier-like double yaps when hunting.
Oh, so they were more like probably like
so
a
they
coyote?
did make dog sound. Yeah, maybe coyote type sounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they made meows.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, they don't seem to have the facial structure to make the meow the way that a kitty cat.
I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. But yes, they are marsupials.
That's cool.
It was the world's largest marsupial carnivore. Yep.
Oh, man. And they hunted. They were like kind of like coyotes probably in the way that they hunted.
I think they were scavengers.
They scavengers? Okay.
Yeah.
They kind of have the face of a scavenger rather than like they kind of, you know what they look like is hyenas.
They do look like hyenas.
They
have these
hyenas.
just these gigantic mouths, man. That's the thing. More than obviously they have the stripes, the Tasmanian tiger, but they just have these enormous mouths. They're really cool.
I think that's the thing that gets me about them is that they really do remind me of hyenas. They're super cool.
So anyway, we will just have to kind of keep an eye on this story, and hopefully this will turn into something, even something definitive that we can say, oh, it is, or oh, it isn't. But yeah, we'll keep an eye out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, we're not talking about Jaime Maussan this month?
Oh my God, thank God. I don't need to talk about any more Mexican Santa Claus.
He is mercifully quiet this month.
Yeah, that's for the best.
Let's good.
Try not to. I did send you. You're trying to learn Spanish.
Yeah,
and I did send you Jaime Maussan's YouTube channel. So if you ever are very bored one day and want to watch a Jaime Maussan video, feel free to do that and then report back to us. But
I listened to some of his video. He had some, just talking about different people's eyewitness reports of UFO encounters and stuff that he's reporting on. But,
of course he was.
That's the only thing I saw. And then I kind of got bored despite the fact that it was in Spanish. And I'm like, I should be learning. But I was like, this is... I'm kind of bored.
I mean... May he be quiet for quite a while. I don't need another report that's just again. See, we're even spending too. Let's not even say fuck that guy. All right. No, that's it.
That's it.
That's all we got. Yeah.
Cool.
So awesome. When this comes out, we will have finished our series on World War I sea monster attacks, and we're going to be moving to something else. Well, in our next series, it's going to be really cool. Going to be a little spooky. Might be a little. Evil, which is cool. And yeah, I mean, thank you all so much for listening. If you like what you hear, head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com, click on the support us button. That'll take you to our Buy Me a Coffee site, and you can drop us a donation or you can become a subscriber. All those donations go to funding more cool shit. Just like this podcast, I buy a shit ton of books to help research all of the things that we talk about here. So, you're helping keeping me in research materials and keep our lights on. Yeah, and we have like some kind of like, we have goals where they are beyond this, where we kind of want to start getting into like paranormal
tests. Like we want to like.
I am well aware that Halloween is like 5 months away, and so we're going to have a couple of really cool things coming up over the next couple of months. I think we got some things planned out that I think is going to be really awesome. So
yeah, we're always looking for ways to kind of differentiate our podcast and everything, and this can be one of them. So we're always thinking. So if you guys have any ideas, also just please share. What's our freaking email address?
slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com.
Okay.
I'm going to tattoo that to my forehead backwards so you can read it every time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening, following us along on this journey. We're going to find those big cats. We're going to find those thylacines one of these days.
Yep.
Cool. Anything else you want to add, EJ, before we sign off?
Not much. Just like freaking, watch out over there. We know we have some England listeners, United Kingdom listeners.
On that side of the pond.
Yes. Our friends over on the British side.
Top of the morning. What? No, that's Irish.
That's not it. But, I mean, we have some Irish listeners as well. I hope. I don't know, do we?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Anyway, watch out there. Some big cats.
Yeah. Be safe out there.
Be safe.
Thanks for listening to Slaying Monsters, the Paranormal History Podcast. If you like the podcast, there's a couple ways to show your support. You can tell your friends, you can leave us a rating and review on your podcast platform, or you can head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com and click on the Support Us button to leave a donation. For questions, suggestions, and other feedback, reach out to us, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com, and stay up to date by following us on Instagram @slayingmonsterspodcast. Your support helps us grow, and we are truly grateful to have our listeners and community.